Hello, and welcome to another fun episode of Kenny and Patrick Takes on the World. Today, we'll be discussing how to take your foot out of your own ass. Just kidding.
Hey,
Hey,
only the most
hey,
difficult
Patrick.
subjects.
Hey, Patrick, how you doing? How was your show last night?
It was good. It was good. A lot of fun. Had a lot of laughs, and made sure to toe the line the best I could between appropriate and inappropriate.
Yeah, those are the best shows. I find that I like to toe that line a little bit more than the more that I get older, the more I seem to find a nice little place with that line and don't go too far here, don't go too far there. Just let the crowd dictate it a little bit, Get it, dictate. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it also depends on who you have around you. Like the rest of my team is very supportive, and they also know me pretty well. So once I start to go in that direction, even though it shocks them, they do give me that space and don't cut it off because they know I'm where I'm getting ready to go, and they just need to be prepared to react. So
Right.
it's a lot of fun. I'll give you an example. So yesterday we had this long form improv that we did, and it ended up landing where everyone was some form of fruit or vegetable. So I got identified as a cucumber at one point. So I kind of made it out to be where I wasn't reaching my full potential. So I said, the only thing I'm missing is vinegar. So then I was like, yo, where's my vinegar? And then the only other person of color on the team walked out. I was like, hey, my vinegar. And then I said, now let's do an elaborate handshake. And we did all that. And then one of the other people on stage said vinegar the way that I said it. And I said, whoa, that's our word. And I had quite a few people dying off of that in the back of the room. And also just the shock of other people's faces that are on my own team as I kind of saw them out of the corner of my eye of like times.
I love it. I love it. I mean, I would have used that one myself. That was inspirational. You found that niche in the word, and you didn't go too far with it, but it was understandable. But at the same time, it was in the concept of a cucumber. So, yeah, definitely. Love that one. Did you go out again? Uh-oh.
Yeah, it went out again.
Yeah, I seen that.
You hear me?
Yep, I hear you now.
No, what was this? I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, no, what I was saying was definitely like how you told the line, and it was a nice balance of towing the line. I would have used that myself. Like I said, it wasn't too brash, but it was in the concept of a cucumber and the world of a cucumber, I mean, it ain't easy being green, so you had to find that
Nope.
nice little niche in it.
Yeah, and you also have to make sure you're enunciating very clearly.
Yeah, that part gets scary. But nah, it sounded like you handled it well. So I'm pretty sure you had fun with that.
I mean, I'm still standing today, so I didn't make any major mistakes.
Yeah. Did anybody try to use the hard R, vinegar? Vinegar?
No, we didn't go that far. And also, since after that interaction happened, it got swept. So it ended up, going off into the ethers, and we moved on to the next scene.
Good. Because I would have tried to push it just a tad more. For me, I would have been like, hey, no hard R's on the vinegar, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's the thing about it, though, is that depending on how the flow is going, there may be opportunity to bring it back at some point. But I didn't see an area where that would work, and it was also towards the end of the set, so it was cut basically after, maybe 2 or 3 scenes after that, so there wasn't time for it. But it was fun. It was something different. I've done
Yeah.
way worse, but it works out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that leads me to my question of the day. What would you do if you can live forever?
What would
Now,
I
hold
do if
on.
I could?
Before you answer that question, I got other little questions because I know you was ready to go, but I'm going to stop you. I got other little questions. First, what would be the pros of living forever?
What would I do if I could live forever?
The
And when you
pros.
say live forever, you just mean that, like, no disease, or does that mean
No
I'm invincible at
sickness,
that point?
no disease, no sickness, no nothing. So
So that means I
you,
can't get shot, stabbed, hit by a train,
you'll
or
heal.
okay,
You'll still get hurt. You're going to still feel pain, but you'll hurt for a little bit.
okay, but I would proceed.
Right.
Oh boy. And would I age as I go? Like, would I become, would I look 90 at 90, and then going post that, I would just start to deteriorate? Or would I
No, you're
stay
going
at
to age.
whatever peak form is?
You're going to age. So you would definitely look 90 at 90 unless you got some superfied skin cream or something like that. Like you're going to definitely age, but you're going to live forever.
And so essentially, if I hit 500, I'm going to look basically, I don't know, like unsightly at that point. Just
Nobody knows. Have you ever lived to be 500 or seen a person at 500? Good skin
not
regimen,
yet.
uh, eating proper vegetables, drinking plenty of water. You never know how you might look. You
Okay. I'll try to make something out of that. So if I could live forever, I mean, that would suck in a lot of ways,
no,
but
but we going with the pros first. Going with the pros.
mhm. I think the positive of that is I would be able to see every major sports team that I like possibly win something at some point. There's opportunity there.
Yeah.
I would probably use that to probably travel the world and see every single country. Yeah, I would probably. I don't know. At that point, once you hit a certain age, you may shift careers from what I do now to maybe I'm a historian, because yeah, I was there when that happened.
Right.
I had a great story about my grandmother told me about Mormons, where they came over on the mountain bikes in the with the black suits on, and knocked on the door and started talking, and I yelled out to my grandma, "Hey, grandma, there's Mormons here," and she goes, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that. That started it when I was a teenager. That's not real," and she shut the door. So I could be that person that's like, yeah, I know that started in 2089. It was bullshit then. It's bullshit now. So I
I
think,
mean, you could be like the key person to help eradicate a disease or something like that. Like I think of the pros as, you know, being able to, just like you said, educate people of past things. This way it prevents certain things from happening in the future repeatedly, like the world does now. Also too, you get to see like your generation, like your grandkids, your grandkids, and help them to be better people and correct them and stuff. Um, Traveling the world, definitely. You would definitely want to do that. Go to every country. Hey, you might fly for free since you like 150,
well, shit, can you imagine how much free coffee you would get? Because once you hit, was it 50, you start getting senior discounts.
At
I feel like there's got to be
150 they
something
pay
out there for
you.
super seniors.
Yeah. At 150 they pay you to drink their coffee and you show up at their cafes and stuff like that. Hey, it's the 150-year-old man. Stop pointing that damn camera at me.
You could probably hold some world records too, like consistently every single day doing something. You know,
Yeah. And I think, in the world of what I put it in, like, you can get hurt, but getting shot, getting broken bones, you heal. So I think, osteoporosis, Alzheimer's, things like that wouldn't affect you. So you'll still have a great mind. You'll still have an upright body. You won't be all hunched over. So you'll just age. You'll look your age. So
Yeah.
I think you would still like do things like break records, like the world's oldest man to do a marathon, or the world's oldest man to do a porn. You never know.
hmm
I mean,
Yeah, but
living
also one thing that comes with age, like as you age, is I've noticed, especially from my experiences of meeting older people, is that some of them are just done and they just all their fucks have been given. So it's just they end up in a world of like, I don't give a shit anymore. Like I guess that part wouldn't pop in since all the other degenerative brain stuff wouldn't be present either. Because you get to a point, especially like the end of your day, you're just like, I'm tired. I'm done. Like,
right,
so I guess with that, since you're not aging, maybe your body's not, tiring out as fast.
right. I would tend to think so. In that world, yeah, because to me, when older people start getting like that, that's when they really start looking older and feeling older, and then the degenerative parts, of the body, the muscle mass, the brain, the bones start giving way, which knowing that you're not going to go anywhere no time soon. Um, I think you'll pretty much start moving around, start doing things, work out, because you got nothing but time. So you got to kill your time by doing something. Can't just sit in the house and sleep all day.
You know what would be good though, I think? Especially if you're traveling the world, you probably could go to those places, especially since you can't it's impossible for you to die. You can't I mean, yeah, getting hurt probably isn't great. I'm guessing you can't catch Ebola. So conceivably, you could go to different countries and try to help out in a way that I don't know if I don't want to say make them American, but maybe you drop into the Middle East and you just get between everyone and say, what are we fighting about now?
Right.
Or go to Africa and go through and maybe cure some of those poor civil rights that they have in certain countries, or the fact that slavery is still a thing in different countries there. Maybe, you know, uh, create a disconnect from what they currently do and give them hope for something better.
A better
A lot of
future.
them are fighting over clean water. Maybe there's a way to fix that.
Right. Right. And no, you could still catch Ebola. You just won't die from it. But
Does
I
Ebola hurt?
guess I guess if oh yeah, it'll hurt. Like I said, you get hurt. But what I'm thinking is, in this world, you can catch it, but I guess over time your body builds up immunities to these things since you don't caught it before, and it knows how to fight it. So I would think you would catch it like the first time, but after that, it's all good. But yeah, you could definitely, like I said, you could do a lot of social work, a lot of political work at that age. Um, it's a lot of things you can do on a positive side that could help out the world.
Yeah.
Now,
There's.
go ahead.
I was gonna say there's there is the adverse to all of that, because for everything positive you do, there's I was so many things could go sideways there.
Right. That's why I said now, since we're here, let's go to the negative parts. What's the first thing come to your mind?
First thing that comes to my mind, especially if you're doing any kind of outreach and becoming more of a public figure, people may start following you and acting like you're some kind of idol. And I'd personally prefer not to be treated or categorized in the same area as other idols like Jesus. I don't want to be put in that conversation. Not only it's clearly false, but also it's a lot of responsibility. because that means you have to carry yourself a certain way because now everybody's either trying to emulate you or worship you. And if you, just are walking down the street, people will follow. And if you decide you need to, do a little lift and separate and, step to the side to, free up the bunching of your testicles, then everybody now is either going to follow that or have, I don't know, maybe view it as, oh, he's gross. And then everybody's gotten that causes friction between those groups. So I prefer to stay out of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's just an open conversation, like, hey, you know, this is something that happened to me. But I'm not Jesus. I, I don't walk on water. I don't do none of that stuff. I can't change water into wine. I just drink wine. That's all.
Yeah, but also if Jesus was walking on the water and he was like hydrophobic, just by design, then how do you like shower? You like get in the bathtub and sit down and just be like at the top and you just like slide out.
Well, I would, if you putting it to a hydrophobic standpoint, I would think he has an on and off switch. Like ducks still get wet, you know, ducks still get wet. It's just that, they can turn the feathers either way and water will come in, water will go out.
That makes a lot of sense because I noticed, especially at times, like Jesus's feathers will, will keep him on the water. So I get it.
But the first thing come to my mind is watching all your family members die.
Yeah, but
Now
you call
that,
that a negative because yes, that's glowingly negative for the people you love, but the people you don't like, you get that satisfaction.
it's kind of a guilty pleasure over time, I guess. At first, it's like, that's sad. He died. I didn't really like him. And then I guess by year 150, it's like, ha, told you
Yeah,
was going to die.
but also by unfortunately having to see everyone that you cared dearly about, gone. Does it become kind of like a cycle where you now create a new family and then go through the same thing? So that point where you're, maybe cycling through, I had generations out there where it's like I've been married, you know, 300 times and had a family and, was married for 30 years, 300 times. And then,
Yeah, it would sound selfish in itself if you was to do that, knowing you would definitely die. But at the same time, I mean, you're gonna get lonely. You're gonna want to spend some time with somebody. Uh, and how Prince put it ain't gonna touch itself. So I mean, you still a functioning man. Like I said, your body is kind of resilient. Even though you aging and your balls is probably touching your ankles, you're still a functioning man. So I mean, the selfishness would just have to go to the side, and I guess, you know, meet your sister who's also too old enough to be your grandma.
yeah. What else can you pull negative from that?
Just the standpoint of, even going around and doing the politics and stuff like that in the social work, like you said, it's just one wrong turn and next thing you know, everybody's bugging out and doing something totally opposite of what you was trying to do, or trying to explain to them. They build up this world uh of resilience now that pretends to be like you. It would just be crazy because it's almost like in school when you do that cup the cup trick or that whisper to the next person or say something to the next person, whisper it to them,
Like,
and by the time it
playing
gets down
telephone?
to the end, by the time it gets down to the end, it's something totally different. You know, that's what that's potentially what would happen. Like you would go like 100 years and go back to that country, and you're like, hold up, I didn't say all this. I just said do this, and now y'all are not only having a war over water, but now y'all are drilling holes in the ground in other parts of the country to get the water, and it's causing infrastructure issues. So you never know. That was just an example. I just came off the top of my head, but yeah,
Yeah. Well,
you
I
know,
mean, but that kind of has a lot of historical context too, because you start out with something happening, and then a friend tells a friend tells a friend. Next thing you know, 100 years go by, and this is what happened. It's kind of that unfortunate argument towards anything that was written in the Bible. Of it may have started out with Jesus walked along the shoreline, which turned into he walked on water, which turned into he was riding a shark holding a machine gun. And we have no way of validating that because it's been 2,000 plus years. So I can't say that it happened or didn't happen through my own experience. It's just what it was written down. It's kind of the same way I caught a movie, unfortunately, a few weeks ago because my improv coach, if he ever watches this, Peter, I watched a movie where, just for our improv, we're doing a lot of noir stuff. So I watched L.A. Confidential, is what it's called, from like the 90s. So, I mean, it was good. It was a great experience. But like at the very beginning, there was this scene where I guess it started where like someone from a group, I don't think they were black. I think they were Hispanic. Either way, they like I guess shoved an officer, which turned into they stabbed him, which turned into they shot him, which turned into he's dead. And then everybody just gangs up on them and goes downstairs to where the jail is and just starts beating the crap out of everyone because they thought one of their own was killed when really it was nothing. He was there. He was on his way there. So
yeah. I mean, we can take that to Black history. I mean, I hate to bring it in, but Emmett Till, it went from nothing to him being dead. So, it's all how people translate things that you would say or do, and then you go back to that country, and over time, translation may be wrong.
yeah. So I have a question then. If you're gonna live forever, what's one thing if nobody knew anything about it and it's just you knew and it hasn't come out yet, what's something fun that you would do just for your own enjoyment, just to shock, scare, or confuse people?
I would find one of those, and my friend actually, shout out to Sam. He actually works for a company that does this. It's like a parasailing airplane with the little propeller in the back. I don't know if you've seen it. They got the cage. You're sitting there, you ride through, and they got the parasailing. I'm terrified of heights. So it got the wings and everything. What I would do is I would find me one of those, and I would fly through the Grand Canyon in one of those. Just go straight through the Grand Canyon in one of those.
Really?
Yeah, just fly. Just fly all the way through. To me, that's terrifying because I'm afraid of heights. But if I knew that I would be fine even if I crash landed, then
Okay. So you'd use it for kind of motivation to conquer your fears.
right.
Yeah, I was thinking I would probably get like one of those little, small, like parasols, like a little pink one or yellow one, little clear ones that people hold when it's sunny out or whatever. And I would go to the top of a giant building like the Sears Tower or the Empire State Building, and then I would just jump off holding the little umbrella and then land. And when I hit the ground, I'd jump up or I'd look around and I'd act like Baby Sinclair from the dinosaurs and be like, again, and I go back up, just to get that like, what the hell what happened?
Speaking of the dinosaurs, and I know this is off topic, but that was the most saddest ending in TV. They were just they were just done in one episode. Like it went from the thing wasn't coming to eat the plants. I can't remember the name of it because I was still young. Thing wouldn't eat the plants. The company wouldn't move the building. So they got this killer thing for the dad. They flew the killer spray, killed all the plants, but then it ended up causing the planet to overheat. Then they blew up these volcanoes, and then it became Ice Age.
Yeah, it was
And
the
then they
Ice Age. Yeah,
died. And that was it. The
yeah.
TV
It's
show
like
was
there's a
gone.
meteor on its way. Good night. Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing though with that show specifically. You know, it's going to end. It's not. It's like it's a foregone conclusion. There, you know, you're basically watching a documentary in a way because they weren't taking it into an alternative universe where dinosaurs live forever. They were basically treating it like Earth. So you knew, but at the same time, it was funny because it was so abrupt. So it was like dissatisfying, but the same way it was kind of satisfying because it's like, yep, we're gonna die now, and that was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You know, but the lead up to it made it feel like, oh, adversity, adversity. Oh, they're gonna overcome it.
They're going to overcome it.
No.
Yeah.
But
Well, see,
I think the positive from that was that we no longer had to hear Elmo. So if Sesame Street could find a way to get in on that,
yeah. I mean, Jim Henson did it all. So, I mean, you know, not the mama. But I mean, you could take the thought of that right there. Because it's almost like it's no ending. So, even and that's scary. Even if a meteor knocks the planet off its axis and you go into an ice age, you're still alive. Everybody else may die.
yeah, that would suck. Because I feel like I'd be really hungry.
Yeah. You would have to adjust and learn how to like eat like wood or something like that, or
Yeah,
make
that would be a
soup out
really
of
long
rock
time.
dust. But hopefully you're smart enough to where if you know the planet is going to end or something like that, you figure out a way to make like a bunker or a rocket ship or something like that and take you to 3 Japanese chicks with you. And this way you can repopulate a planet. Hopefully you don't run into like no space aliens with tentacles or anything like that. Because then it's going to take all your Japanese women from you.
Yeah, more than likely. More than likely. Yeah, it almost feels like it on the surface it would be it would be really cool, but at the same time it ended up being a curse because of all the horrible things that could happen. And plus, I mean, civilization itself will end up dying out at some point. And as toxic as it is, I always tell, especially I tell my family and people I'm close with, I always say, you know, the worst invention in humanity was humanity. Because people are the problem. We wouldn't have any of this conflict if there weren't a bunch of people.
You, I would say you're 80% right. The other 20 is thinking. The other 20 is thinking. If a man thoughts is, I must have everything. I must conquer all. I must, instead of each one teach one, or let me help them get some food, or let's build a community. Let's all sing kumbaya around the fire of this woolly mammoth. Since the beginning of the time, if we just figured out a way to just be one community without looking at whether that person's tall, whether that person is fat, whether that person is skinny, whether that person is brown, whether that person is blue or whatever, if we just looked at it as we're all one community, then, that 20% out survives that 80 that's trying to control everything. Cause it's like, yo, like you go up over there then. If you want to conquer something, you go up over there. The problem is that 80 ends up being the majority. So that 20% of us who think about, each one teach one or help one another out gets pushed to the side.
Yeah, and also the problem is that there's a lot of pressure because the people who are on the lower end that want equality and want everything to be even and without conflict, once they have an opportunity to climb up, then the majority of them as well don't look back and they just become part of the problem in this instance.
Right.
I mean,
No, I agree with you. I've seen it too many times. Um, you know, um, America has a bunch of millionaires from different communities and different walks of life. But why is your old neighborhood poor? Why is there no community center, things to help out the community? So no, I I agree with you.
Yeah, because it's strange because I was reading this article about what's considered wealthy versus poverty, and it said anyone who makes over, I believe, 140,000 or $150,000 a year is considered wealthy. But then anyone who makes under, I think it's 50,000, is considered either extra low income or borderline poverty, and then poverty is anything under 20,000. And I believe that because it's hard just to feed your family when you make that under $20,000, let alone live indoors and be comfortable.
I mean, $100,000. I mean, 120 is still struggling. I'm sorry. I don't know what statistic or what they must have got that from the people who got that family house or something like that inherited money that was passed down the line, because I know plenty of people who make 100 plus a year and they still struggle. They still struggle. And it's not that they got poor spending habits, they got poor budgeting habits. $100,000 in today's world is not nothing. I mean, your average car costs 60,000.
Well, it's
That's for
also
a
that
Toyota Camry.
that's hard. Well, that's the thing though, is that there's also a lot of variables. Some people may be married, not married, may have children, not have children. Different stages in life. May have children that are have moved out, or maybe they have some on the way, or whatever. Or maybe they adopt. So there's a lot of different factors. But there's also just based on inflation and cost of living. Someone who makes $100,000 today is really making around 64 or 68,000 10 years ago.
I was going to say probably about 60 to 70,000 in that
Yeah,
range.
because it used to be 100,000 was the benchmark, and now it's great, but it's just another step to get to where you need to be comfortable.
Yeah. When I made, and this is weird. So my first job was in construction. I probably made close to about 30,000 a year. Seemed like I had more money. This is the late 90s, early 2000s. Seemed like I had way more money. Um, Gas was cheap, by the way. Just throwing that in there. It was like 90 cents a gallon. Uh, I remember, for the week, put $10 in my tank and drive on that for the whole entire week. Um, the world was different, but it seemed like I had way more money. Then I made it to the $60,000 range. Paid all the bills, had kids. It it seemed like it went a lot quicker. Especially when you factor in kids. So I get where you're coming from with the kids. Then I made 80,000, and I felt like, damn, you could have. I wish I could go back in time and see that 30,000 again, because the 80,000 just seemed like they just took more out.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah, but
wasn't
then
really seeing it.
there's also different waves that come through. Like you'll see holiday seasons where there's increased spending. You'll see just a wave of emails from Nigerian princesses come through, and you got to help them.
Gotta help them.
So there's always some kind of pitfall that could present itself. I remember when I finished, when I got my first degree and I started working after college. I was just working in the mailroom at a newspaper. So, want to talk about, we know the ending. We don't get a meteorite or an ice age, but nobody's buying physical copies of a newspaper at any kind of volume. But when I was there, and I was there for 8 years, when I left there, I was making like under $12 an hour. And I had a house, I had a new car, and I mean, I didn't complain. It was modest, but at the same time, it was comfortable, and that was under 30 grand. And also to your point, gas was cheaper, natural gas was cheaper, food was cheaper. Insurance wasn't as much. I remember being able to fill up my car get a full tank of gas, and I'd be able to, with $20. I had like a $20 a week budget. I'd have gas, and I'd have 2 or 3 meals. Like if I had to hit the dollar menu, it was $1. So $5 got you out of there fat, happy, and feeling like garbage. But still, now I don't even know what it is. I know they got rid of that moniker, and now it's like, hey, anything under $10, you can get a kid size drink for only $9.95.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it, but fast food is actually cheaper than buying food in the grocery store almost. Like, have you seen the price of steaks? Like, that is like to get a good like T-bone or New York strip. Like you basically gonna have to spend your whole budget for groceries just to get that. Like,
Yeah, or like when you've got I remember just a few days ago I saw there was a person there marking down everything because it wasn't selling fast enough, and they had a giant stack. It was 3 ribeyes on a platter, and it was like $65 for 3 steaks, and they had it marked down to 40. And I just walked right past it because that's insane to begin with. And even like buying a picanha, or like a sirloin tip, those are like almost 40 something dollars for one, and it's crazy. Yeah, you can. I mean, but at the same time, what are you eating? If you go to a fast food place, you're eating something reminiscent of what meat was, and it's mostly just filler, like styrofoam and soybean paste.
sawdust. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or whatever the person on the assembly line threw out they. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, that one was green. Mix it in. Mix it in. Don't worry. Yeah. Oh, that's a chicken foot. Don't worry. Use the shredder. Yeah. Um, it's just crazy when you think about, the price of things compared to, just probably about 10 years ago. Um, how things have shot up and they're not coming back down. But the amount you make is way less to compensate. Like the minimum wage to me for anybody should be $20 an hour. I'm sorry.
Depends on where you live too, though, because
Yeah.
there's several play. I mean, New York and California are far more difficult to navigate if you know you have to make more in those areas because of the cost of living. But I think at the same time, that's why a lot of people change jobs so frequently. Because when I was in school, they said that on average you'll see about you'll work at 7 different companies over the span of your career. But now I see people moving every 2 years. So, from let's say 30 to 65, that's what, 15 to 18 different. And that's if you do it that way, because the only way really to make more at a more rapid pace is you can't raise up through your company.
You got to
You have to
climb them
go to the
rungs.
next place and leverage the previous place, because they're just going to give you a percentage of what you currently make. That's where the next place is going to give you, they're going to start the standard there.
Right.
So it's,
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't blame them. Get it while you can, because there's a lot of companies out here faking like they hiring, but ain't really hiring. So I salute them. Get it while you can, because I mean they'll do it to you. They'll replace you.
well, for sure. For sure. And it's funny too because they think that technology and AI are the answer for the future, and it may very well be at some point, but it's not right this minute. I know my wife works in medical, and they're using this AI program to help fill out paperwork and stuff. And it's fun whenever they fill something out, and then the AI comes in and changes things and goes like, "Oh, you're in there," and it's like, "Okay, this person weighs 115 pounds," and then AI comes over and says, "I think it's more like 250," and their blood pressure isn't normal; it's actually alarming.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not there yet. Definitely.
It's like having a child professionally because you have to teach it everything,
Right.
but everything changes, so you have to teach it while it changes. I'm confused. I don't use it. I have this thing where I can click disable Copilot, and then it doesn't show up.
I tell people all the time, it's an evolving technology. It's not fully there yet. If you give it some time, maybe it will be there, like you said. But like as of right now, no. Yeah, you know what I do? I trust it to help me with some of my graphics, some of my verbiage. Uh, I trust it with that, but like some life type stuff, no, no, no. And you gotta be careful what you input into it too, because it takes your information and it'll use that information for other people as well. And as well as images too. Like it can, it stores your images. So most social media, cell phones, computers, all this stuff got all this stuff in it. Most of your modern stuff got all of it in it. So you got to be careful what is being shared, like on Facebook and different things like that, because it can use your. I think SAG is like pushing out something for Meta not to use images, not to use actors' images and stuff like that. So I mean, where do they draw the line on using this technology? I think that it should be a cap on how much of it is used in regular life until it develops more, until it's not sentinel and trying to tell you or correct you from telling you that a person is 215 pounds to 250 or their blood pressure is shooting up sky high when it's not. It could misdiagnose some people, and people don't became too reliant on it and lazy. And next thing you know, you're giving a person blood pressure medication and they're in the room dying because you don't gave them the wrong medication.
Yeah. Can you imagine if that kind of technology existed throughout history? Can you imagine, just like slave trade when they're just using AI and they're saying, okay, it looks like these are all free now, and all these over here have been purchased, so they just, it would cause mass confusion. Or it would, be like, okay, I have a list of, I have, 100 people standing in front of me I have to put on this boat, but according to AI, it says I need you 5. The rest of you're not part of this right now,
Or even like the areas where, slavery is legal. They would say, oh, you must go due west in order to have legal slaves. You cannot be in your state or in your territory with the slaves. You must go down to Texas. And there's a little square at the top of Texas. Slavery is legal there. Go there.
Mm-hmm. Or, the like just building of, like the Berlin Wall. They're trying to do that, but it's actually telling them that they need to do it horizontally instead of vertical. So and it needs to, instead of being, I don't know, 50 feet tall, it needs to be 4 feet tall. So now you got a 4-foot tall wall that goes sideways instead of straight.
Yeah.
Look at the pyramids. What if they built one of those pyramids upside down?
Right. And then that's what I was about to get to too, like the pyramids. What if it said, no, you can't build it here, but now the pyramid straddles the Nile River. Like it has a waterway underneath it,
Mm-hmm.
or Hey, this will be a desert in such and such years. You should not build it here, build it there.
And you just get that one time. Some leader said, it would be really nice if an Arby's was right there. The next thing you know, there's an Arby's everywhere.
Do Arby's even sell food anymore? Like, I can't remember the last time I've been to an Arby's, but there is always like one car in the parking lot. One car. Like, do they make money?
See, I feel like as I'm getting older, I feel like it might be just a front for money laundering or something. Because in order to operate and pay your employees, you have to have sales. But I know that I think they've been living through COVID rules for decades because I don't think people don't go inside that place. You don't see, there's never anybody in there. Honestly, if you want to have a nice, quiet, like experience at a fast food restaurant,
Go to Arby's.
maybe you just go to Arby's and sit in their dining area because nobody's there. Not a person. And it's sad because the food actually there is not awful. I mean, compared to everything else, it's going to be a little more expensive, but it's something different, which is, I guess, why it doesn't catch on. Like the one that's near where I live, that is in my town. It closed forever around the 4th of July. And it just has a sign on the wall or a sign on the window that says permanently closed. Next nearest location is, and it was like 2 towns away.
They got the beef.
Yeah, and then there's another sign on the other side that says available space.
This way, they got the beef.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as, and they have this unique gift where they can take beef and manage to give it the consistency and flavor of wet paper.
I mean, Arby's to me always reminded me of, what was those little sliced steaks? Steakums?
Yeah.
That's what Arby's remind me of. Whenever I see the steakums or the knockoff version, whatever it is, I say, oh, that's like Arby's. Because you can get those, get you some liquid cheese and pour the liquid cheese up over it, and then there you go. What is it? Cheese whiz? Get the cheese whiz, pour the cheese whiz up over it, and boom.
Yeah, but you got to also remember that Arby's had the Jamocha milkshake. I don't know what Jamocha is. I think it might be coffee. I don't like coffee, but anytime I'm near an Arby's and I actually go to it, I'll grab a Jamocha shake because that flavor doesn't exist anywhere else.
No.
So they had one thing.
Yeah. And like I said, I used to eat there. Then I realized, I said, hold on, this is expensive and nobody eats here. Like, what's going on here?
Well, it used to be cheap. It used to be 5 for $5.
Mm-hmm.
Then it went 5 to $5.95. Then it went to 2 for $5. And then occasionally they do 5 little mini sandwiches for $6. It got crazy. But my fondest memory of Arby's, since we actually had one near where I grew up, and we would eat there, but we'd eat outside on like their little booth, tables out there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember they were white with red booths with like the seat that kind of curves in and everything, and it was like a 2-person booth. But my father drove a flatbed truck, and we were sitting outside eating one of the few times he was there, and he noticed that the booth was not bolted to the concrete well enough. So when we got done eating, we all got in the truck, and he just picked up the whole thing and just put it on the back of his truck, and then we left. And that Arby's booth sat in my kitchen at the home I grew up in for 10 years probably before it finally broke.
So Patrick, you had the beef.
Apparently. By proxy. I didn't have a choice on that one. It was get in the truck and shut up. And you didn't dare say a word because we knew exactly what was happening. I was maybe 5, but I knew that something was getting stolen. And if I said a word about it, I would have caught the back of a hand. So I didn't say anything because the last few times I said something, I knew exactly what would happen. It would be like, hey, but you didn't pay for that. And I don't think that it's yours. You took it anyway. Isn't that stealing? And then, you get the little birdies go around your head and everything, and then you learn from that experience.
Yeah. No. Like my fondest memory was when I finally got the chance to go to Roy Rogers. I
Your
always wanted to
fondest
go to
memory of
Roy
Arby's
Rogers.
was when you went to Roy Rogers.
No, my fondest memory of eating at a place was Roy Rogers.
Okay.
Yeah. I always wanted to go to Roy Rogers. So I guess it's like your Arby's experience, except my dad didn't steal the seats that we were sitting in at Roy Rogers. But something I found out later on that Roy Rogers is nothing but Hardee's. Hardee's and Roy Rogers, same damn place. Yeah. Yep. Owned by the same company. Just like
That makes sense.
Arby's owns and this is weird, but Arby's owns a couple of fast food places in like I forgot what all that Arby's owns, but yeah, the same capital venture company that owns Arby's owns like several different food restaurants.
Yeah. It's kind of like how that Yum brand owns KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut. But the one that was alarming for me when I was a kid was we learned that Jack in the Box was owned by the company, or owned by Purina, the dog food company.
Inspire Brands owns Arby's, and Inspire Brands owns Buffalo Wild Wings, Sonic, Jimmy John's. Oh, they're responsible for Dunkin' Donuts not having no donuts no more. Excuse me. Yeah, so they own Dunkin' and Baskin Robbins. So Dunkin' Donuts, I don't know if nobody knows this, but yeah, I'm about to get on my soapbox about this. Dunkin' Donuts, not Dunkin' as they call themselves now. Dunkin' Donuts started out selling donuts, was their biggest seller. The donut holes, the jelly-filled, cream-filled, Boston cream, apple fritters, lemon-filled. They don't sell donuts no more. They sell drinks.
They definitely market them heavy.
So Inspire Brand, you can kiss my black ass because you have messed up my entire life. I have lived with Dunkin' Donuts all my life. Well, it was a gap year, couple of gap years until they came down south. But still, I have lived with Dunkin' Donuts for the majority of my life. And when we finally got them down here in the south, I was happy. Now, in the past couple of years, you have took the donuts off of Dunkin'. Now it's just Dunkin'. And you don't even sell my donuts that I like anymore. Bastards. You evil bastards. Yeah. So you just made Dunkin' into another piece. For me, I'm done now. You can.
Well, that name, just the Dunkin' name in general, the whole purpose behind it was to illustrate that what did people do back then when they first started? They take that donut and they dunk it in their coffee. So they
Yes.
turned it into Dunkin' Donuts, just in case you couldn't figure it out at that point. Dunkin' what? Donuts. Okay, got it. Because back then, especially, they had, what, 3 different kinds? They had, like, plain cake donut, which belongs in coffee, I guess. And
Right.
then they'd have, like, a couple of varieties, like jelly, and then, I don't know if they had, like, powdered sugar, and that was about it. And then it started to expand. And, yeah, they had a lot of different varieties, but they managed to keep quality with them somewhat. And
Right.
then yeah, but it's all about, because it's a Starbucks model. Starbucks makes money hand over fist because they're giving you a cup with some kind of mass produced liquid in it, and Dunkin's not going to make a ton of money having to bake a bunch of things and do all that manual work instead of just cutting a bag open and pouring it into a container so they can start adding junk to it.
Yeah. And you can't, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't compete with Starbucks. I'm sorry, Starbucks has a following for their drinks. Dunkin' Donuts, keyword donuts, has a following for their donuts. when you took the donuts off, you killed the following. I'm not going there for no peach, apple, snapple, fruity cup of liquid that you mass produced in a factory. I'm not doing that. No.
So you tell me you don't want a drink that has like just nerds candy scattered throughout it?
No. I go buy a box of nerds. I'm here for the donuts. Simple as that. Why do we have to have this complication here? You know, Sonics has weird ass drinks. So you got that weird ass drink shit covered. Like why are we doing this at Dunkin'? Why are we I can't dunk nothing at Dunkin' because it's nothing to dunk. You don't even have a donut. You don't even have a cookie. Who would want to dunk a cookie in fruity chocolate fart shit? Like who would want to dunk a cookie in that?
Doesn't sound good.
No.
Doesn't sound good. But Sonic is another one though that I don't understand why that one's open either. What do they like? What do they do well?
The last couple of times I went there, and I stopped going to them too. Inspire brand. I don't go to none of the Inspire. Baskin Robbins, Dunkin' Donuts, Jimmy John's. None of them. I don't go to none of the Inspire brand. Inspire brand, you are dumb as hell. You keep messing up these stores model. I don't know if you own the property and you're just trying to just run up the rent rate or whatever. But y'all keep messing. Ooh, I got a great idea. Let's take the donuts off of Dunkin'. Ooh, when you go to Sonic, just ask for the stuff that they always supposed to have on the menu. They won't have it. You ask for a simple hot dog with chili on it. Oh, we out of hot dogs.
Or you I've been there before and I asked them for like their chicken, whatever, like popcorn chicken. They're like, okay, it'll be 9 minutes. We have to make it. Okay. I mean, I appreciate freshness, but at the same time, I don't need to see like while you wait, you can order a pickle slushy. I think I'm good.
Or I go there and I ask for a simple hamburger. We all out of burgers. No, just let me back my car up and I'm done with y'all. Like, no. These. So I see now that it's a trend with this one company that owned all these chains called Inspire Brands. Yeah. So go back to what you were saying. I think it's all money laundering because there's no way. When was the last time somebody been to Baskin Robbins? Do they even have 31? What is it supposed to be? 31?
Yeah.
When's the last time somebody been in Baskin Robbins? I don't even think they got 31 no more.
I think they occasionally have a Baskin Robbins in a Dunkin' Donuts.
They probably got like 5 and 30 damn stupid ass drinks.
And a case with cakes in it.
5 flavors of ice cream and 30 damn dumbass drinks and a case full of ice cream cakes.
Yeah, I guess like if they're in airports or strategically placed, they might be the ones that add all the revenue. But in small towns, if there are other options, then I'm sure those other options get explored first.
Right. Like I got a local ice cream parlor, and they got some good ass ice cream. I can't deny them. Like that's normally our little Sunday retreat. If the little one has been acting like she got some sense and not acting like her daddy, we take her to go get some ice cream at the spot. And it is on Franklin. I can't think of the name right off head, but it is probably one of the best ones around that I've ate at. But these mass-produced places, I don't know who came up. I don't know who sat in these offices with these business models or thoughts, but I'm just looking at this one company messing up all these brands. That's crazy. That's crazy. So, on that note, because I'm not going to hold Patrick all day, while I go on my triad about why Inspire Brand sucks now that I know who the culprit is. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, ask questions, talk about it. Don't just, pop in, give us a thumbs up, ask questions. I know we are all over the place, but this is what the hell are we talking about? And with that said, peace out. They can't see you, Patrick.
You
You
can't see
didn't
me.
say anything. No. Okay, now they see you. All
They
right.
see what?
I don't know. Bye. Cancel.